the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce. We all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Good evening and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor. A much calmer evening across North Mississippi, and we will take that because we don't want rumbles of thunder while we're trying to go to bed, right? Well, that's one of the many things we're tracking here in the Room to Room Weather Center is those drier conditions continuing overnight. But heading into our forecast for Thursday and for our Friday, rain chances are sticking around, but in very limited fashion. We'll be walking through that forecast. I told you guys to join me at 10, and there would be a reason for it, and it's tracking the latest on some of our short-range model runs. And trust me, you'll definitely want to see what it has in store for our Friday. And Gabrielle continues to develop in the Atlantic. We'll take the latest look at Tropical Storm Gabrielle and other tropical developments that we were looking at earlier at 6 p.m. We do have more developments as we head into the 10 o'clock hour. So plenty to look forward to, plenty we have to get into. So thank you for joining us here tonight at 10. Looking at that first 12, you might notice rain chances completely done away with overnight. Those isolated chances that models were showing overnight basically dissipated on out. A lot of that energy has been used up, and with the lack of daytime heating replenishing that energy, well, you just don't exactly get a soggy forecast. So that's why we have dry conditions overnight, clear conditions overnight, making way for a sunny start to our Thursday. Temperature-wise, going to be the coolest they'll be heading into that morning forecast. 68 degrees by 5, 72 by 8, and we are climbing already in the upper 80s by 11 a.m. So buckle up for another toasty day. Let's go ahead and get a look outside right now. 71 degrees in Winona, feels like 68. So fortunately, it's honestly dropping a few of those temperatures down in regards to how it feels. Not complaining at all about that forecast. So mild forecast gets even milder heading into the rest of our evening. Winona not the only ones feeling that. Aberdeen 72, feeling like 64. Yeah, some of that rain-cooled air definitely doing some justice over there. Looking out of the north, and you'll see just a whole lot of dark skies, but you'll also see a little bit of cloud cover still lingering from earlier today where those showers were circulating on through. But this is what we're seeing right now, Mississippi Live Weather Radar. You might notice that there are no showers to be tracking. I'm going to bump it back about 6 hours ago because that's when the action was taking place. And action was very light, a few light showers, or should I say a few isolated showers across the region. But as we got into around that 8 o'clock hour, all of that dissolved away and we were left with a calmer forecast. Honestly, around 7 o'clock, we were left with the drier forecast. And if you can't see it based off of what we're seeing on radar, well, and all those greens are distracting you, well, here's a look at rainfall totals over the past 3 hours. You might notice, here, I'll populate in a few totals for you to really walk you through it. 0, 0, 0, 0, and 0. So, yeah, we were dry for the latter part of our evening, enjoying that still at 10 o'clock, and we'll continue to see those conditions persist. Now, that doesn't mean it was a dry day all the way around. Here's a look at some of those rain totals that we saw today. About 3/4 of an inch over there towards Oktibbeha County, 1.3 inches just on the south side of Tippah County. Folks over there towards Marshall County getting about 1/2 of an inch. And as you see there towards Panola County, nearly an inch over there. I do see one area that, yes, I sniped it. 1.5 inches there in Alcorn County, heading down Highway 72, close to the Burnsville area, actually. So some folks did get rainfall, but for the large majority of us, still it was those zeros populating in once again. And it just seems like we can never catch a break or catch a raindrop. And that just seems to be the way that things have been going the past few days. Luckily, there's still limited chances going forward, but those limited chances, again, going to impact very few of us. So you still might be on the unfortunate side of that equation going forward. So it really just depends. It's going to be very sporadic development. So what we're getting right now, We have this low pressure center in the Atlantic that continues to remain very stationary, not any movement associated with it. So it's going to continue to cycle in some of that moisture there towards Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, anywhere along the northeast coast. This low pressure center out there towards the Midwest, a big driver in their weather pattern right now. And you might notice severe thunderstorm watch in effect for folks over there towards Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, and Oklahoma. That's lasting until 11 p.m. this evening. So folks out there dealing with an active afternoon. That is not the case here in North Mississippi. We are in this area of very dry air. I'm curious just to see how large this area is of that dry air. We're talking nearly 700 miles without a raindrop. Yeah, drought, that's a thing, and that's only going to get worse with these conditions persisting of 700 miles of no rainfall. So that's the unfortunate part with the forecast, is that we are dry, but you can take the good with it. It means that you can get some stuff done outside. I mowed the lawn a couple days ago, and I was thinking this is optimal conditions for it. It wasn't too bad, did it in the morning time, and was able to knock it out with some of those cooler temperatures. Do that now, get it knocked out now. But hopefully getting some rainfall to grow that grass back, right? 10 p.m. on your Wednesday. Let's go ahead and get into that extended forecast overnight. A few clouds here and there, but overall it's going to be a dry, a clear, a calm forecast heading into the start of our Friday. Taking a look at that forecast Friday morning, 6 a.m., you're driving to school and work with a beautiful forecast paired with plenty of sunshine, warming up that atmosphere once again. And while we can't guarantee that everyone will see a drop of rainfall, we can guarantee that everyone will be getting those hot temperatures. 9 a.m., still seeing those clear skies in the forecast. That lingers into our forecast by lunchtime. So teachers, I tell you all the time, if there's an opportunity to take the kids outside to enjoy their lunches, well, this would be the time to do so. I always looked forward to it when I was in school, so hopefully you guys get to do that with them as well. But into that early to mid-afternoon, that's when those showers start to develop and that 10% chance lingers back into the forecast. Again, lingering mid to late, even there towards the evening hours. So we're tracking that in a little bit more detail. Some areas or some time frames going to be a little bit higher than others, but still not very high. We're talking 20% at best for our coverage tomorrow afternoon. The rest of the forecast, your morning forecast, is going to start out mild, start out with sunshine, 90 degrees there by noon. So it's going to be a toasty one early, and those temperatures just continue to climb in the extended forecast. So coming up in 60 seconds, what we're going to be tracking is the latest on Gabrielle. We're going to be tracking the latest on this football forecast. And yes, I told you the short range model runs are officially in. What does that say for our Friday forecast? Well, depends on how you look at it. And that's where I'll leave it heading into our break right now. But trust me, here in the next minute, I will have all the answers you need for that extended forecast coming up on Mississippi Live Weather at 10, live from the Room to Room Weather Center.
What would you give for a child you loved to make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine.
You need some help?
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire. I could show you how to secure them properly if you'd like.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynard.
Welcome back into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Once again, we will have those answers to your questions in regards to the rainfall coming up here in the next couple of minutes. But what we're going to start with is a live look outside with one of the North Mississippi Storm Chasers cameras. This one over there towards Cleveland. 75 degrees, feeling like 77. Now, some of that moisture impacting the forecast could result in some very patchy fog for folks that did see that rainfall earlier this evening. But for the rest of us, a clear start to our Thursday can be expected. Same thing around Oxford. We're not seeing a drop of rainfall today, 72 degrees right now, and those feels like values bumping down a few degrees, so at least it's somewhat comfortable heading into those overnight hours, at least the coolest it'll be over the next 24 hours, right? We got to look at things in the light, and that is definitely the good part about our forecast. Mississippi Live Weather Radar, as you can see, clear air mode right now, and we tracked those rainfall totals earlier on. Haven't seen a drop over the past 3 hours. We expect that to continue to be the forecast overnight and into the start of our Thursday. Normally, I go track these showers. Well, nothing to track. And we're not complaining about that, especially into that overnight hours. We don't like going to bed with some of those rumbles of thunder, so don't expect that overnight. If anything, could be a brief sprinkle, but that's the most action we're going to get into our Wednesday evening. Midnight, 72 degrees, 69 by 3, and 67 for your morning commute heading into your Thursday. You might notice clear conditions, or at least mostly clear conditions, lingering in the forecast. This is going to be a phenomenal start to our Thursday. Let's go ahead and get into those overnight hours, and not anything to show on Futurecast. Again, just those dry and clear conditions that will stick around into our forecast as we get into a wonderful Thursday morning. So let's go ahead and track those temperatures out. Still going to be a mild start. It's just that slightly above average pattern that we're continuing to enjoy, because we totally don't want fall, right? I'm using reverse psychology because I think that maybe that would convince fall to start entering the picture. So far, hasn't worked, but 66 degrees in Amory, 66 around Boonville, 67 towards Holly Springs and Senatobia, 70 degrees still showing up around the South Haven area and down around Greenville. So some milder than others, but either way, it's just going to heat up no matter where you're at heading into the rest of your day. 66 by drop off, 87 by lunch. Yeah, those lunch plans are going to be toasty. 93 by that last bell, so temperatures just continue to climb. If you wanted that summer heat, or were at least trying to get as much of it as you can before fall enters the picture, well, your prayers are working and prevailing against our fall prayers, that we want some of that cooler air, right? I know there's a few folks in chat that are with me on that. Thursday morning, again, those dry and clear conditions sticking around in the forecast, but watch how we enter into that late morning and early afternoon. Some of that cloud cover does build. This is going to be patchy cloud cover there moving into the Mississippi Delta, becoming a bit more apparent there by 12 o'clock. And as you notice, I'm tracking clouds, not rain. So that can tell you how good this forecast will be for the start of our Thursday. But then we get into our Thursday afternoon, and watch how this sporadic development starts, and basically that daytime heating initiates a few of these pop-up showers once again. Not really uniform in development. It's just going to be popping up here and there. This one down around Noxubee County, another one towards Union County, a little bit more prevalent than others. But as we get into that late afternoon and early evening, you can see how these just continue to just pop up basically out of nowhere. That's that typical summer fashion. If we get right along that boundary, or at least have an outflow boundary that develops off of a few of these lead storms, well, then that just starts to shoot off a storm here, here, here. And especially with that daytime heating mixing in, I mean, those two things together can result in what we're getting, a summer-like forecast with isolated sporadic development. So 6 p.m., those showers do linger in the forecast, with the most activity still out there towards Arkansas and Louisiana. High temperatures, while we can't guarantee any rainfall for everybody, we can guarantee heat for everybody, and that's going to be 94 degrees Amory, 96 Columbus, 92 Eupora, 95 Grenada, and 96 there towards Clarksdale. The fortunate thing is heat indices showcase the drier air that's in place, so at least it's going to be a bearable forecast. Still hot, but we're not talking about oppressive humidity. 9 p.m., some of those showers still try to linger into the Mississippi Delta. That one near Shelby and Cleveland, definitely one to watch along Highway 61. But as we get further into those overnight hours, those rain chances really diminish. And if we do get any rainfall, going to be coming in light fashion. It's not really going to be impactful. But watch as we get into our Friday. This is where we've been watching behind the scenes for some of those short-range models to start forecasting that rainfall. And we're at least seeing a few of those light showers move in by early morning on our Friday, primarily there in the northwest part of the state, the northern part of the Mississippi Delta. And as we get into the noon hours, those, of course, building into the area ever so slightly, but a lot of that just dissipating out the further east it goes, basically I-55 being the boundary for that. But then we get into about 3 o'clock, and these really start to become more prevalent there on the east side of our viewing area, all the way into Chickasaw, Clay, Monroe, Itawamba County, Prentiss County, maybe Lee County, fingers crossed. But as we get into that evening period, that's what we're all watching. And the unfortunate part about it, our model stops at about 6 p.m. on Friday evening, and we know at 7 p.m. football games start. So the fact that we're still getting some prevalent moisture with some oranges and reds popping up around Webster, Choctaw, and even down there towards Attala and Montgomery County. That tells me that we are going to be dealing with some isolated showers and maybe even some storms as we get into our football game forecast. So not for everybody, but again, that chance is there, and we're watching a lot of showers basically along Highway 45, with a few locations actually going to be south of Highway 82 for those primary areas that we are watching for our Friday evening. So we're paying attention to that forecast and hoping that that can at least be drawn back a little bit on timing as we get into that Friday evening. But as of right now, that's where we expect those showers to be. So go ahead and have that umbrella just in case for those football games. And you'll either be happy you brought it or happy that it's not raining. Either way, it brings a smile to your face. High temperatures, low to mid 90s, so at least falling back ever so slightly from where we're at on our Thursday, probably a result of some of that moisture, more prevalent moisture in the forecast. And heat indices, again, that drier air, so it's not going to be overly oppressive for our forecast. So taking a look at that pregame forecast, I updated this. I don't think it stuck. So I'm going to verbally tell you this. Pre-game, 20% coverage. I don't know why that did not save, but that's frustrating behind the scenes. Is it another graphic? I don't think it is. That's unfortunate, but I'll make sure that's updated for tomorrow's forecast. 83 with 20% coverage, halftime 78 with about 10% coverage, and final snap 74 with about 10% coverage as well. Again, that's for the entire north half of Mississippi, so that's not going to be for one specific location, but it will be a few locations that are encompassed in that 20%. But that basically means that 80% of the area at around 7 o'clock are staying on the drier side. So look at that from that cup half full perspective, right? But I know there's going to be some folks disappointed with that rainfall in the forecast. Still should be a great Friday night. And as we mentioned yesterday evening at this time, South Pontotoc versus Okolona is our game of the week. So we will be over there in Springville enjoying some, for me, great concessions. That's what I'm always excited about, but also some great game highlights. It's homecoming, so it's going to be a fantastic time. We're excited to be out there here in a little over 24, I guess almost 48 hours. Hey, countdown begins, right? Now looking at that kickoff, Tulane at Ole Miss, 2:30 kickoff, so it is going to be a toasty one over there in the Grove for those pregame tailgates. And even during the game, I mean, folks, if you do not stay hydrated during that game, I've seen several folks go down because of temperatures right at this level. 96 degrees first play, 95 by halftime, and 86 towards that final snap. So please make sure to stay hydrated. We will definitely need to with temperatures in the mid-90s. And looking at that Starkville forecast, doesn't get much better because kickoff is only 45 minutes after the Ole Miss game, Saturday at 3:15. And you can see first play 96 degrees, 90 by halftime, and 80 by that final snap. And same thing goes for you guys in the Junction. Going to be a toasty tailgate as you get ready for the game. So hydration, that is key. Make sure to do so. 7-day forecast, you can see 94 dropping to 93, 92 on Saturday, and 91 Sunday. This steady digression in those temperatures, and a lot of that due to the moisture that's going to be moving into the forecast early next week. But even those chances, I mean, our best chances over the next several days is 30% next Wednesday, and even that forecast is subject to change. Really going to be isolated coverage for the next 7 days for a large part of North Mississippi. Not impactful for our drought monitor, and our drought monitor comes out tomorrow. Meteorologist Maggie McCauley will have that tomorrow morning, and it's not going to look pretty, to say the least. 20% coverage for Friday, mid to late afternoon, and even into those evening hours. And then Saturday, staying mostly dry, so those collegiate games still should be good to go. And like I mentioned, that moisture returning early next week with temperatures in the upper 80s. So that pretty much sums it up here in North Mississippi. An unfortunate forecast, and it will be unfortunate for some heading into that Friday night forecast, but we do need that rainfall. So I don't want you to completely look at this in a negative point of view. We are in level 3 drought conditions in some areas, and we are expected to get even worse. So rainfall, we'll take it for sure. But if we can pick times before 7 o'clock on Friday. Reading in a few comments there in the chat, checking in from several different areas. Just grateful for you guys joining and supporting us. And I love seeing all the different areas that it encompasses. I mean, it just makes me smile getting to see how much of North Mississippi we're able to reach. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure to share this with your friends, your family, make sure that they're informed. And we cover not just the northeast side anymore. We cover the entirety of North Mississippi in full detail. If there's even a severe thunderstorm warning for some large hail. I mean, we were on air multiple times yesterday to track those. And we tracked one earlier on today, but it was during a broadcast, and that I don't think ever verified with hail reaching the surface, so that was a good thing. But yeah, it's just so cool to see. So share that with your friends and family, and we just appreciate everything you guys do for us. I see Patty asking about southwest of Itawamba County. Maybe some chances there by Friday. That Friday is going to be our best bet over the next couple of days for rainfall, but we're fingers crossed on that because we do need it here in North Mississippi. Gotta have faith. You're exactly right about that. Too blessed to be stressed. All right, you guys are cracking me up in the chat. Let's go ahead and get into Gabrielle because we are tracking tropical development. Once again, what we're seeing out there in the tropics is Tropical Storm Gabrielle, officially a named storm as we got into our Wednesday morning. And as we track that out over the next couple of hours, we can see where we currently sit. 50 miles an hour, same thing as that 4 p.m. advisory, but pressure level dropped by 1 millibar. So that shows that this is still at least stationary, at least keeping its current conditions, but expected to strengthen as we move into that extended forecast. I'm going to get on this side of your screen so you can visualize it just a bit better. I mean, by the time we get into Friday morning, about 45 miles an hour, so maybe a step back with some of that drier air filtering in, but pushing more into Saturday, 60 miles an hour, so that's where it will start to build once again. But as we see, by Sunday evening, could be at Category 1 hurricane strength. Now, fortunately, with the track, it does take it north and then northeast, far away from the central part of the United States. So not expecting any impacts here, and definitely not expecting any impacts for North Mississippi as of this point. But there is more tropical development that's happening out there towards the, oh joy, I did not save the camera for this part. Give me 1 second to drag this over. As we mentioned, this is going to be that smaller circle right there. So the one inside the bigger circle, that darker hue, or I guess this would be a lighter hue of yellow. Yeah, we need more colors on this color palette. But this is the first disturbance we're looking at. 10% for the next 2 days and 10% over the next 7. So showing that confidence is diminishing as we get further into that forecast. So this is not expected to be anything significant. We said that at 6, just models were not verifying this in a lot of detail, and it was not showing anything that was going to enhance it over the next 7 days. So hopefully that continues to remain the case and happens again. Golly, there's a few things. We will get this cleaned up for tomorrow evening for sure. Looking right here, this is going to be the big circle on your screen, the big yellow circle. That's your disturbance number 2. Currently a wave blowing off the African coast. 20% chance of development over the next 7, 0% over the next 2. That's what we've been seeing, so nothing new on that. But yeah, that's pretty much where we stand in the Atlantic. Gabrielle, our big highlight, but fortunately still going in the same path all these tropical storms have been going, and that is away from the United States. So we will assess that in more detail heading into Mississippi Live weather at 6 tomorrow evening. We expect you guys to join us there, and of course you can tune in on the app. I know that's what a lot of folks are watching on, but some folks still in the chat. Unfortunately, you can't chat on the app, but you can chat on our social medias, so there's perks to both, but we do want you guys to use the app and get on the app and tune in there. So go ahead and download the app. Gonna be hot for those football games, poor guys, for sure. I mean, that's the thing we'll say about this football forecast. It's gonna be toasty whether you get rainfall or not. So make sure to drink plenty of fluids. I have a gut feeling that football players are probably gonna be dealing with a few cramps just because of how hot it is. So you're probably going to see a few injuries on the field, but trust me, they're not injuries. You just got to get those cramps out. So that's why we need to stay hydrated, football players, especially getting into our Saturday forecast with some of that collegiate action. But our next broadcast happening tomorrow morning, and like I mentioned, Maggie will have that drought monitor, the latest for you. And like I said, we're not expecting that to be any better. We're expecting that to honestly be worse. That's at 6:30, 7, and 7:30. Walking through your day ahead, and we will be back here at 5, 6, and 10 on your Thursday evening, giving the latest details on what to expect heading into the weekend. We hope you guys have a fantastic night, enjoy these drier conditions, and have a great Thursday ahead.
At Room to Room, did you know our specialty is custom ordered upholstery? Get the furniture you want and the fabric and color selection you want. With our free design service, we won't let you make a mistake.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. Prediabetes does. With early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test today. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org.